Welcome to TPM Vids, where we talk all about theme parks and more. If you're new to the channel and like what you see, hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon to be notified when we upload a new video. You can also find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. The American Dream Mall in East Rutherford, New Jersey is home to Nickelodeon Universe, the largest indoor theme park in North America. Covering 8.5 acres, Nickelodeon Universe opened in October of 2019, bringing all your favorite Nickelodeon characters right to life. Here you can find 25 rides and attractions, from slow-moving flat rides to high-speed roller coasters, some of which are actually record breakers. Today I'll take you on a complete tour of the park. I'll share some tips for visiting, as well as what to expect in terms of the ride lineup, and discuss the good, the bad, and everything else in between. So sit back as we count down the top 10 best and worst at Nickelodeon Universe. Number 10. Let's start off with some tips about admission. Definitely buy your tickets online because they're about $10 cheaper. For a non-peak day, it ended up costing me $64 with tax for an all-access pass. They also recently switched things around, where now you don't need to purchase admission to go into the park. Anyone visiting the mall can explore Nickelodeon Universe. So, if you want to just go and take in all the theme park ambiance, then that's an option too. If you find yourself only wanting to go on a few rides or even just one, point passes are also available. 6 points gets you on one of the coasters, and that costs $10 with tax. So if you do plan on going on all the big thrill rides, the all-access pass is definitely the way to go. They also offer the Twilight Pass, which is cheaper, and that can be used during the last 2 hours of operation. Now you might be thinking, 2 hours is not nearly enough time in the park, but believe me, it definitely is. When I visited during the week, the crowds were pretty much non-existent, and the rides even ran with empty trains. So you'll get on everything and can get multiple rides in on the same ride. Now speaking about rides, let's move into number 9. One of the first coasters you'll notice as you enter the park is Nickelodeon Slime Streak. The orange track is hard to miss, and when you see the train zip through the park, it might not look too thrilling, but don't underestimate this coaster. Once you're at the top of the 70-foot lift hill and make your descent, it's surprising how fast it actually feels. As you drop into the airtime hill, it reaches a top speed of 37 miles or 60 kilometers per hour. Surprisingly, there are a few possible moments of airtime, especially when you're in the last row. It was a lot more thrilling in the back. But the one downfall of Slime Streak is that the ride vehicles are pretty tight. They were more along the size of a junior coaster train, so if you're on the taller side or have longer legs, this might not be the most comfortable ride. I really enjoyed this coaster, and it's one of the more family-friendly coasters at the park. When I visited, the ride had just reopened after being closed for a few weeks, and just be aware that the rides here are closed very often for a variety of reasons. Definitely check the website beforehand to see what's scheduled to be closed. I tried to plan a trip to this park for over a year and wanted to visit when all 5 of the coasters were actually operating. This proved to be very difficult. I also tried to reach out to American Dream multiple times to get permission to film on the coasters with a GoPro, and they never got back to me. Even when I spoke with park management, who were really nice, they passed the request over to the marketing department at the mall, and it never got answered. So any on-ride footage seen in this video was taken with permission by the Coaster Spot on YouTube. Now with a ride time of 1 minute and 10 seconds, Slime Streak is a coaster filled with airtime. Number 8. Over at the back of the park, you can find Timmys Halfpipe Havoc, themed to the Fairly OddParents. Now once you're seated in this oversized skateboard, this intimate surf rider coaster will definitely take you for a spin. The ride vehicle starts accelerating forwards and backwards, making its way further and further up the 88-foot tall halfpipe. As the vehicle crests the top of the track and gravity pulls it down, it'll reach top speeds of up to 43 miles or 70 kilometers an hour. I found that with the spinning of the individual gondolas, this coaster didn't really give you as much airtime when you compare it to RC Racer at Disneyland Paris. This was also manufactured by Intamin, but has standard row seating. Sometimes Timmy's Halfpipe Havoc doesn't spin you all that much, but it felt more like a spinning flat ride than a roller coaster. With a ride time of about 1 minute, it's still a really fun coaster that's sure to take you for a spin. Number 7. A highlight of Nickelodeon universe is this twisted masterpiece of coaster track. It belongs to two different coasters manufactured by Gerstaller. This model that was on display at the IAAPA Expo shows you just how much coaster track there really is. So the first coaster we'll look at is the Shredder. It's a family spinning coaster which just happens to be the tallest and longest free spinning coaster in the world. It comes in with a height of 92 feet and almost 2,300 feet of coaster track. Now after you quickly ascend up the lift hill, you turn right and the train begins to spin as it heads down the first drop. Now with this being a free spinning coaster, be prepared to spin a lot or very little in any direction. It really depends on the weight in the train. The great thing with the Shredder is that you'll never have two of the same ride experiences. At first I was worried that this would spin excessively, but it actually wasn't too intense. With a top speed of 35 miles or 56 kilometers per hour, it's quite a thrilling ride, but it never really felt all that fast. It's probably due to the multiple brake runs, but it does have a pretty lengthy ride time, coming in at 2 minutes and 20 seconds. There are some really fun moments where it interacts with the track from Shellraiser, which leads me into number 6. The second Gerstaller coaster is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shellraiser. The ride's entrance is kinda hidden, so to find it, head to the far right and it's parallel with the main escalators. Now, Shellraiser is a coaster full of surprises, and with 7 inversions, it's definitely the most thrilling ride at the park. As your ride begins, the first inversion is an extremely slow barrel roll which then leads right into a launch. It takes you 63 miles or 100 kilometers per hour in a quick 2 seconds, which then leads you into a 125-foot tall corkscrew. You're propelled into a banana roll, which then leads into another corkscrew, then get ready for the most thrilling part of the ride. This is the part with the drop. The tension builds as you ascend 90 degrees up the 141-foot tall lift hill. It takes about 30 seconds to reach the top, and once you're here, you get a fantastic view of the New York City skyline. You actually hang here for what feels like an eternity, but in reality, it's only 12 seconds. Then you slowly begin your descent down the record-breaking drop. This is the steepest drop in the world at 121.5 degrees. It's wild. The second half of the ride has 3 more inversions, with a total ride time coming in at 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Now, it did surprise me how bumpy and rough the ride was, and it did give me a bit of a headache. Being the fastest ride at the park, it was very intense, but I could only do 1 round on this ride. Now at night, the coaster does have a pretty cool lighting package, which does add a bit more atmosphere to what's usually a bare warehouse during the day. With Shredder and Shellraiser both themed to the Ninja Turtles, a cityscape backdrop or just some theming elements could have really added atmosphere during the day. Both coasters take up so much space that it just feels really bare. The ride entrances look really cool, but it's a shame this theming isn't continued into the physical rides. Number 5. Another unique coaster here at the park is Sandy's Blasting Bronco. This was an Intamin launch coaster and was the first of their vertical SLM models to be installed, and it's still their only one to date. For such a compact design, it has a total of 4 inversions. The ride begins with a launch that takes you from 0 to 48 miles or 77 kilometers per hour and immediately brings you through back-to-back Immelman inversions. Then you'll pass through a rollover as you go upside down twice, then you return back to the load station. Now this is one of the most unique parts. The entire loading platform then rotates on a turntable, and you do the entire coaster again, but this time backwards. It has a total ride time of 1 minute and 40 seconds, taking you upside down a total of 8 times. It's really fun, but there was quite a bit of rattle on this coaster. I found the back to be a lot smoother than the front, and going backwards was smoother overall than the coaster going forwards. I mean, getting launched backwards right into an inversion was such a rush. This is one I did multiple times. Number 4. When I visited Nickelodeon Universe, Skyline Scream was a ride I really wanted to experience, but unfortunately it was closed. Now this is the tallest indoor drop tower in the world, coming in at 121 feet tall, and it's also a rotating drop tower, or it's supposed to be. So a normal ride cycle begins by launching riders up. Then after you bounce a bit, you slowly rise to the very top where you get some great panoramic views of the New York City skyline. You'll also find a bunch of Nickelodeon characters up here as well. Now this is the point where the gondola is supposed to rotate 360 degrees, but sometimes it doesn't for whatever reason. It just depends on the day. Then you drop one last time and that's the ride. Skyline Scream isn't always open, so when you see that it is, definitely head there right away. Now if you've been on the ride before, how did you like it? Comment below. Number 3. Now Nickelodeon Universe is home to a nice collection of flat rides, with a few of them falling into the thrill ride category. First up is Ong's Air Gliders, which is themed to Avatar: The Last Airbender. Once you're seated in your ride vehicle and the ride is up to speed, the individual arms begin swinging and you'll rotate up to 360 degrees. There's a high probability that you'll stall, leaving you hanging upside down for a bit. Definitely gets that blood rushing, and a full ride cycle here lasts about 2 minutes. Then across the way, there's Krong Prime Pandemonium. This pendulum ride swings you back and forth, slowly easing towards that full 360 degree rotation. Prepare to go upside down multiple times, including some moments of hang time. And to add to the thrill, the gondola also rotates. Again, it's a lot of spinning, and this full ride cycle is about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Then lastly, there's Jimmy Neutron's Atom Smasher, which was closed for maintenance when I was there. This is a Unicoaster flat ride from Chance Rides, which spins around, then the individual ride vehicle can also rotate. Again, lots and lots of spinning. Number 2. The theming on the flat rides, especially the more gentle rides for the little ones, is top-notch. The park has 13 junior rides and attractions themed to a variety of different Nickelodeon shows and characters. The entire park is just filled with Nickelodeon characters, and each one also happens to be a photo op. From Squidward to the Ninja Turtles, Tommy and Chucky, and even Ren and Stimpy. There was a nice variety of shows represented, from the more classic franchises to a bunch of newer ones. It all looks like a theme park, but it doesn't really sound like one. The music in the park was horrible. When I passed by the ticket window to pick up my wristband, they had this upbeat orchestral music you'd expect to hear at a theme park. I was ready for this Nickelodeon adventure. Then as I got to the escalator and made my way into the park, very loud top 40 songs were blaring through the speakers. The music just kinda took you right out of the whole theme, and it's even more strange since half of the park is meant for kids. Nothing quite like hearing Nicki Minaj while on Boots' Banana Swing. The only ride I heard that had onboard audio was Rugrats Reptar Go Round, where they played the Rugrats theme. It's cute, right? This created a lot more atmosphere, but you can hear that pop music in the background. More rides need onboard audio, and the park needs less overhead speakers. There's just too much echo, and it sounds like a hockey stadium. The music was just very off-putting and not very theme park-like. Number 1. Overall, Nickelodeon Universe has a pretty good variety of rides, but one of the most underrated rides would have to be Dora Sky Railway. Now, with it being number 1, I'm not saying it's the best, but I think every single theme park needs a people mover-esque ride that takes you around the land on an elevated track. It's such a relaxing experience as you get a great bird's eye view of everything in the park. Plus, it breaks up the rides a little bit. Going from a spinning flat ride to a spinning coaster, then 4 inversions, then another spinning flat ride, then a coaster with 7 inversions can be a little much. Rides like Dora Sky Railway give you that breathing room, but Nickelodeon Universe could have really benefited from a solid dark ride and or even a smaller 4D attraction, since that would take up less space. But I think a shooting style dark ride would be perfect, and who knows, maybe at some point in the future we could see a dark ride in the park. For now, the 3-minute ride on Dora Sky Railway will do. So have you ever been to Nickelodeon Universe at the American Dream Mall, or do you have any plans on visiting? What are your thoughts on the park? I'd love to know. Leave a comment down below to start a conversation, and don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video.